Gentile Dottor Mukwege.
Dear Mr. Mukwege, civil and military authorities, dear friends, directors, dear members of Bocconi University Board of Directors, dear alumni and alumni, dear professors and staff members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to add to the thanks that were already expressed by President Monti to Dr. Mukwege for being present with us on this opening day. Dr. Mukwege, we look forward to hearing your words of wisdom. You are clearly a unique and outstanding example of peace and inclusion in our complex society. Thank you very much for being with us today. Decision-making in the new millennium has not been a trivial task so far. The so-called macro context of decision-makers has been constantly subject to shocks that reset our predictive capacity. Think of the turn of the century with the attack on Twin Towers on the 9/11 and the subsequent wave of terrorism that triggered the war in Afghanistan. Think of the subprime crisis of 2008 and the sovereign debt crisis of 2011. Think of the recent global SARS-CoV-2 pandemic and the war in Ukraine and the ensuing energy crisis of the recent months. Even the most important global think tanks, which live based on predictions, struggle to understand what will happen in the near future. And this, paradoxically, despite the fact that the modern world of politics, economics, and finance requires us to plan our actions in the medium to long term. But apart from the macro decision-making framework, the world has also become more complex at micro level. Our institutions have been enriched with sensitivities that were unimaginable until a few years ago. Think of the issue of control, of risk, the issue of compliance and accountability. Over the years, these institutional developments have led to articulations of organizations that are extremely more analytical than their ancestors. The legal component of professions has evolved just as much as the management component, and making a decision today requires consultation with experts from various disciplines. And this, not to mention the latest diners around the decision-making table. The big data requiring the use of data and computer scientists to have become a valuable and also scarce resource. Consider finally the recent cultural conquest of modern society, which has rightly placed the issue of diversity and sustainability at the core of the design of our institutions, and which requires us to make an effort to integrate this with respect to the evolution of values and beliefs. So deciding a new millennium has become a very complex activity. But what do we mean by complexity? Complexity is the state of a system, be it natural, social, or artificial. Complexity cannot be reduced to solvable complex situations. Complexity is not, for example, that of the game of chess, for which today Watson computer manages to beat man thanks to unimaginable computing power when the first mainframe computers came to life 70 years ago. This is precisely because in the case of chess, one is able to identify the main variables behind the player's move and is able to predict their interactions sufficiently accurately compared to what the human mind can do. Complexity, on the other hand, is that well described by the famous meteorological anecdote of butterflies, which rises in flight from a flower in the Philippines and with the beating of its wing unleashes, paradoxically, a hurricane in Florida, although we could increasingly update the same anecdote by talking about unforeseen disasters in continental Europe and unfortunately also in our country. Complexity implies a state of wide variety in the number of variables, variability in each of them, or the sometimes schizophrenic dynamics with which the respective values change, and their more or less close and sometimes indecipherable interdependence. Together, these three conditions make forecasting difficult, even for a machine having significant computing power, such as a supercomputer. And this is where the importance of the human being over technology comes in. Complexity, as physics Nobel laureate Giorgio Parisi teaches us, must be dealt with by accepting and studying it rather than simply by processing it as a machine can do. Complexity requires a major immersion effort to understand it and to deal with it within a specific context in the best possible way. And the solution, as in detective puzzles, is found by connecting the dots, by searching, having a dialogue, questioning, and having, when the time is right, the courage and strength to decide. At the end of the day, the only thing we can do in the face of complexity is to set out on a journey into the problem at hand and embark on it with total dedication. Today, moreover, we are lucky enough to have several tools at our disposal that can be used to support this journey, thanks to technologies that allow us to gather information and do processing that were unimaginable just a few years ago. But to do all this, one has to want it. And human beings frequently tend not to want it. Rationality we have inherited, particularly in the Western way of thinking, leads us instinctively to look for cause and effect connections between actions. Instead of studying complexity, frightened, we defend ourselves by trying to trivialize it through a process of rationalization that leads to simplification. It is easier to aim for black and white rather than shades of gray. Instead, addressing complexity means changing the simplistic perspective of finding the optimal solution. Since complexity has characterized the 6 years of my rectorate, I'm always joking with my colleague, fellow rectors who had a similar situation, because we said that we started with Brexit and we are now ending with a more tragic situation with the pandemic. So complexity is part of the new millennium. So as I was saying, since complexity has characterized the 6 years of my rectorate, in this report I will reread through its lens what has been done. I will do so with an update on the last year in particular, so as to offer the state of our university in 2022. Our university has consolidated its position in international rankings. Today, we are ranked 4th in Europe and 10th in the world by QS, and 4th in Europe and 17th in the world by US News, the two main rankings that guide the choices of students and families all around the world. I will pay special attention to 5 ingredients that have guided our journey through complexity. The first ingredient is care for diversity and richness of human capital. People, with their skills and emotions, are the crucial part of the journey to be made in order to deal with complexity. In the 6 years of my rectorate, Bocconi teaching staff has grown in size, disciplinary areas and geographical origins. Today, at Bocconi University, 25% of professors are international, do not have an Italian passport. It was 15% in 2016, and they come from 32 different countries. This growth stems from a strategy that has involved Bocconi increasingly in the international market, with the aim not only of responding to natural generational change, but also to increasing the mobility of professors who are increasingly attracted to universities that can offer state-of-the-art facilities and research groups. In the last 6 years, we have welcomed 167 new professors who have contributed to addressing the complexity we are experiencing. The new entrants have brought new expertise, and especially in the areas of computer science, artificial intelligence, data analysis in various disciplines, all disciplines of management, from marketing to finance, theoretical physics, but also geopolitics and global law and decision-making. In this particular new academic year, I would like to welcome 27 new colleagues, whom you can see in the picture, in the chart. We have 5 tenured professors that you see in the chart, associate and ordinary and standing professors who have just started their academic year with us. In this other chart, you can see the 15 new researchers who will be part of the academic family of Bocconi University, and in the 7th, and in the next one, 7 adjunct professors and professors of practice at SDA Bocconi, who are part now of our community, and on the 1st of September they started teaching and performing research at Bocconi University. Along this journey, we aimed with determination at a greater gender balance. There are now 131 female colleagues with an increase of 22% in 6 years. This figure is even more significant because the increase occurred despite the substantial expansion into STEM disciplines, which are normally not so friendly in this sense, but we're making our best to do so. And in particular, the number of female full professors increased from 8 in 2016 to the current 24, a threefold increase. The skills of Bocconi's faculty are proven by its ability to attract a growing number of research grants and ability to also publish in the best scientific journals all around the world. Since 2007, the year the European Research Council and its prestigious grants were launched, Bocconi has hosted a total of 47 grants, ERC grants. Out of this, 25 are now active, 47% more than 2016. And it's even more significant to notice their economic value, which has grown by 112%. 5 ERC grants were won this year. You can see them in the chart with the winning professors, who are, of course, big scientists in the relevant fields. And the grants we win prove there is increasing diversification in the fields Bocconi University is historically used to compete. So the two main panels are still economics and management, and sociology and psychology, respectively with 26 and 7 grants. There is an increasing number of grants that we win in disciplinary areas that are far from the traditional one, which are related to the new disciplines that we have been trying to develop in the last few years. If we consider all sources, funding for Bocconi research has grown by 30%. In particular, this year, we were the winners of 3 European projects, you can see in this chart: Futures on the dynamics of aging in European society, HyPre, linked to the world of life sciences, and Masterpiece, related to the study of energy communities. Also, indicators attesting to the quality of our researchers are significant. The 3 main ones refer to scientific production have been growing steadily in recent years. As you can see in the chart, average Web of Science citations per lecturer have increased by 142% compared to 2016. At the same time, the H index we use to measure productivity of professors has grown by 48%. And eventually, the number of scientific articles published by our professors and professors that are part of the editorial boards, all this has increased as well. But faculty aside, the richness and diversity of Bocconi's human capital is embodied by our extraordinary student population. 22% of our 15,000 students have a non-Italian passport, an increase of 47% compared to 2016. This percentage rises to 42% if we take into consideration only classes held in English, which are now increasing, which is 60% of Bocconi classrooms. And there are 124 countries of origin from which we select our young people, our students. Among the most represented countries appear France, Turkey, Germany, China, India, and also the US. Today, Bocconi University is more attractive to the talent market, which allows us to select our students even more carefully. Indeed, we receive 54% more applications than 6 years ago. This figure helps us in our journey of transformation of students when they get to Bocconi University, because they are supposed to receive teachings and further development of their skills. But if the richness of skills of human capital is the first ingredient for dealing with complexity, the second ingredient is the drive to constantly include new perspectives. The awareness of not doing it alone and openness to the complementary skills of others is the basis for understanding and overcoming complexity. A distinctive trait in these years of my rector's tenure, in addition to the historic openness to international academic partners, about which I will report shortly, has been also the openness to Italian partners in order to strengthen the research and higher education model at a European level. The first natural interlocutors, reference people, were the Milanese University, each excelling in their own field of study. And the fruitful dialogue with Milan Polytechnical University has led to the establishment of 2 innovative and multidisciplinary Masters of Science courses, the one in cyber strategy and governance, launched in 2019, and the one in transformative sustainability, launched this year. The collaboration with Polimi and also Statale University and Bicocca University allowed us last year to join UNET Milano and to be part of the European Laboratory for Learning and Intelligent Systems, which brings together the best academic resources to promote the development of AI and machine learning in Europe. A month ago, we also announced the birth of MUSA, an ambitious ecosystem for innovation funded by the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. The PNRR on this plan was the opportunity to look beyond Milan and forge alliances with other Italian universities, always aimed at advancing our boundaries of expertise. There are 3 extended partnerships of which we are part. You can see the names of people who are in charge of managing relationship with universities and the topics, one on aging, one on artificial intelligence, and finally one on sustainability in economics and finance. Collaboration, dialogue, and exchange with universities in Milan and Lombardy region was then the real added weapon to cope, starting from the dramatic weekend of the 22nd of February 2020 to the health emergency that we had then only guessed was coming. The coordination between our university allows us to respond quickly, managing to shut down our buildings without stopping our teaching and research activities. As I did last year, I would like to sincerely thank Bocconi community for the efficiency on behalf of the Bocconi community, for the efficiency of the Milanese and Lombardy hospitals and their medical staff. They have actually helped everybody overcome this moment of difficulty. In addition to this news about national partners, in recent years, Bocconi University has continued to look to international academic partners to increase opportunities for its students by signing new double degree agreements. These agreements allow to have a double degree and institutional exposure. And today we have 35. There were 26 in 2016. Among these, I would like to mention the agreement for the Guanghua School of Management of Peking University, Beijing University, and the programs with Lehigh University as part of the Global Network for Advanced Management, those with Fordham Law School, Indiana School of Law, and Maastricht University Faculty of Law. And finally, the agreements with Sciences Po in Paris and the London School of Economics as part of our political science degree. Added to this is the activation of new global academic networks. Today, Bocconi University is part of 10 different networks. There were only 3 6 years ago, including Civica as part of the European Universities Project, Gulf, which is linked to the World Economic Forum U7+, which was launched by President Macron 5 years ago, GNAM, dealing with management, Alewis, social sciences, Apelia, legal studies, École on teaching methodology. Speaking of openness, one cannot fail to mention the constant coordination work with our partner companies, alumni, and donors. Thanks to our partner companies, even in the toughest years of the pandemic, we managed to ensure our graduates fruitful relationships with the world of employment, so much so that today the percentage of graduates working is 96%, out of which 1/3 abroad. It was 25% in 2016. On the other hand, the role of alumni has been strengthened by integrating the community into the life of the university, and in 2018, by moving it in 2018 from the former association with a separate legal entity to the new Bocconi alumni community, aligning ourselves with international best practices. Bocconi Alumni Community is now a global network coordinated by its alma mater, with over 130,000 members gathered in 74 geographical chapters worldwide, 12 topic groups dedicated to specific in-depth topics, 130 MBA and executive MBA classes of SDA Bocconi. Bocconi alumni are led by 200 leaders and animated by over 1,160 volunteers who promote networking and career advice activities. And thanking the community, and namely its president, Silvia Candiani, country manager of Microsoft, I would like to mention that on the 21st of October, we'll celebrate the Alumna of the Year 2022, Margherita Della Valle, Chief Financial Officer and member of the Executive Committee of Vodafone Group worldwide. The support of our donors is also crucial in attracting new researchers through the creation of research laboratories and chairs. Laboratories have experienced a significant growth, rising from 1 to 10 between 2016 to 2022. In the chart, you can see the names of the different laboratories producing knowledge and involving some donors to carry out basic research on these topics. Since the start of the rectorate in 2016 academic year, 16 professorships have also been established, and the total number has doubled from 12 in 2016 to 24 in 2022. In the chart, the 4 chairs signed this year that will be activated represented. I would like to thank, of course, Invernizzi Foundation and the De Agostini Group. With our donors, we also lay the foundations for a new idea of future, and together we are pursuing a pact of solidarity between generations, an encouraging sign in these complex times. Today, among our donor endowments, we have 3 individuals and 14 corporations that you can see in this chart. But in addition to human capital and openness, complexity requires a third ingredient, the ability to set problems before solving them, what in Anglo-Saxon language is called problem framing before problem solving. Complexity must, in fact, be understood before it is solved. And to this regard, complexity today can make use of many contextual data that digital transformation makes available. In the attempt to broaden our problem-framing capacity, Bocconi University in the last few years of rectorate has consolidated itself as a University of Social Science in the most contemporary interpretation, in which economics and management dialogue with theoretical physics and computer science. Marketing merges with data analytics, finance speaks the language of blockchain, and law becomes digital. We are indeed living the years of digital revolution and the ones in which AI is imposing itself in laboratories and factories, but also those in which globalization seems to have reached its peak so that we wonder what future lies ahead of us. A world in which the ability to understand geopolitical phenomena, to navigate the data of the digital society, to be open to ESG issues become indispensable skills. The two souls, geopolitics and digital, refer in particular today to the departments of social and political sciences, which took on this name and configuration setting in 2018, and in the computing sciences department, which was launched this year. Our educational offering at undergraduate and graduate level has expanded from 20 degree courses to the current 25, which will become 26 as of next academic year, with the opening of the first English language bachelor's degree in the field of law, the bachelor's degree in global law. This degree program contains all the elements characterizing the journey Bocconi has taken in the recent years into disciplinarity, internationalization in the study of global dimension of legal issues, openness to digital technologies. In the following chart, you can see the innovations we have introduced in our education offer. Innovation in Bocconi University didactics has been aimed at precisely developing the problem framing ability of our students to provide them with the skills and tools that are crucial for understanding and responding to complexity, thanks to the ability to process and discern big data. Among the first cross-curricular innovations introduced in 2017 was the teaching of the Python programming language. We did this because we were convinced that coding today is the equivalent of English 30 years ago. Our students today study programming and apply it in the numerous core and elective courses we have introduced, focusing on topics ranging from microeconomics to demography, from finance to accounting. The goal of our efforts has been to make students' experience increasingly stimulating and consistent with the needs of a job market that, in the digital century we are living in, is rapidly evolving. And to do this, and not to be intimidated by change, however, we must not only enable Generation Z to use new codes, and this is why we have also introduced a mandatory course for all students in the first year on critical thinking, a critical thinking course to stimulate students about the issues of complexity. Innovation in content has gone hand in hand with innovation in teaching methodologies and technologies. In 2016, we built Bocconi University Innovations in Learning and Teaching, which in recent years has tenaciously pursued, even during periods of lockdown and the replacement of physical life with virtual life, innovation in teaching methodologies. There are over 600 professors who have taken part in the dedicated training activities. Thanks to this effort, Bocconi University has co-founded EdTech Forum with the main universities at the European level, as well as having a leadership role within the dedicated division of the Academy of Management, the most relevant American Association of Business Schools. The fourth ingredient is sensitivity to the world of both environmental and social sustainability. Environment and society are the dominant directions of a sustainable capitalism that helps addressing the complex context we are experiencing. The environmental social governance principles apply to a university institution that makes the impact of knowledge for good practices and behaviors at an individual and community level. Bocconi's commitment to concrete form in the establishment of a Initiative for Diversity and Inclusion, which produced the first inclusive gender equality plan published in early 2022. The plan highlights the journey taken by university and the will to accelerate diversity and inclusion in the years to come. In particular, it emphasizes the need to continue increasing gender and ethnic diversity within all the areas of the community. Initiatives to support and promote gender and cultural diversity and raising awareness on LGBTQIA+ issues. And precisely because in diversity of its community lies the richness of an institution, Bocconi University increasingly acts to support not only those who have chosen, but also those who are forced to leave their country and thus risk not being able to complete their studies. This is the case of various initiatives to support forced migrant students, initiatives that in recent months have opened the university's door to 12 Ukrainian students, 2 Afghan students, and 3 refugee students in Malawi, Cameroon, and Mozambique. Another project I'd like to highlight, to mention, is our commitment to facilitate access to female students through the Women Awards, supported by our donors who are sensitive to gender gap and committed with us to breaking the glass ceiling. As of this academic year, we'll be making 80 Women's Awards available. Over the years, we have gradually increased financial support to students. In total, for the current academic year, 37 million euros have been earmarked for this purpose, an increase of 34% compared to 2016, so that one in 4 students now benefits from this. Since 2016, more than 23 million euros have been raised for programs specifically related to social mobility. As you can see in the chart, thanks to our corporate donors and foundations, we have set up 14 student support funds, of which 6 dedicated exclusively to female students. Also in the chart, you can see large individual donors who have chosen to name exceptions as scholarships in 2021 and 22. A heartfelt thank goes to all of them on behalf of Bocconi University community. Today, I would like to recall one of such initiatives, which, in our opinion, is quintessential in its symbolic value and response. The President reminded us about the memory of Ambassador Attanasio, and this initiative was set up in his name. Last year, he was a victim of an attack in the Democratic Republic of Congo with Carabiniere Vittorio Iacovacci and Congolese driver Mustafa Milambo. And thanks to contribution of over 800 donors, 5 students from Burundi, Cameroon, Congo, Mozambique, and Nigeria are now able to study at Bocconi in Luca's name and memory. Thank you.
Ci tengo anche a sottolineare.
I would also like to stress Bocconi University's inclusive and solidarity role outside its own community. 2 activities in particular were promoted in the aftermath of the outbreak of the Russian invasion on Ukraine. The Ukrainian Community Empowering Program, aimed at the Ukrainian community gathered in Milan, and legal support unit created within the Bocconi Lab in European Studies. In addition to social issues, our contribution to sustainability has also been addressed to the environment, as highlighted in the 3rd edition of the Sustainability Report. Let me just mention, in addition to the aforementioned new Master of Science in Transformative Sustainability with Paul and me, the Master in Sustainability and Energy Management, which has been ranking first in Edu Universal Best Master Ranking for the past 5 years. And to this, I would like to add the also increase in teachings related to various themes of sustainability, which cut across our courses and schools. There are more than 100 other indicators reported in the Sustainability Report 2021 can be seen in this chart. On the green transition, the Bocconi University is also making are the indicators from the creation of the second part of our campus we opened in 2019. We have indicators on the use of resources and emissions. Thanks to photovoltaic park, which is second in size in the city of Milan and has exceeded the threshold of 1.2 megawatts installed power, total energy consumption in 2021 was 97,520 gigajoules compared to 101,000 in 2019. The 5th and final ingredient for dealing with complexity is the entrepreneurial spirit. The ability to innovate is at the core of overcoming the state of complexity. For Bocconi University, entrepreneurship is a genetic trait, but in the last 6 years, it has also been a mission that we have given ourselves with the rectoral team. It has always animated our researchers and lecturers, and I like to recall the 2 parts of Bocconi University constantly dedicated to it: Bocconi for Innovation, our accelerator, and SDA, Bocconi School of Management. One of the pivotal commitments that characterized these years of rectorate was the establishment of the accelerator, Bocconi for Innovation, that was active just before the first lockdown. So it started in a very complex situation, and the mission is supporting startups and large companies in identifying, developing, and marketing innovative initiatives, identifying new business models, driving digital transformation, and connecting the business environment in selected sectors. and we can also give contribution based on our skills. In less than 3 years, our program has included 130 startup companies, which is a very positive result compared to the 1,000 applicants. SDA Bocconi's entrepreneurship has been challenged in recent years by the new business models that characterize the edutech world, technological education. The response of our school is metaphorically summarized in the image of the new immersive room that positions it at the frontier of digital innovation. This immersive room that we opened 2 weeks ago. Digital and international positioning are indeed, together with the strengthening of applied research, the 3 lines of development that characterized our School of Management. On the digital innovation front, after the launch in 2019 of its first portfolio of on-demand courses, we have developed a vast experience in the development of in-presence and online learning with a high focus on the participants' growth journey from course design to course delivery to feedback and follow-up. This is very important for us because we believe education training, post-university training is increasingly important and about digital. SDA Bocconi's international projections has continued to grow thanks to the partnerships and collaborations summarized in the chart that have opened up new markets for the school and attracted students from over 90 countries. The quality and international reputation of our executive programs has grown steadily over the last 6 years, as reflected in the most important industry rankings. With regard, eventually, to apply research, the strategic impulse has been to broaden our outlook to ever wider and more diverse contexts. In the last 6 years, 10 new laboratories were established, bringing the total number to 16. But complexity also requires proximity. In the years in which the power of digital and virtual has exploded, highlighting all its potential and capacity for impact, we have made the decision to bring our training school closer to the country, to its companies, institutions, and professionals. SDA Bocconi, next Wednesday, on the 12th of October, will open its offices in Rome to strengthen a dialogue and look to the future together, also with the center and south of the country. To conclude, let me say that there is no need to fear complexity, because if properly addressed, complexity can be an inspiring source. Expertise, openness, problem framing, sustainability, and innovation are just some of the recipes for taking advantage of complexity. We used to say that this is a decidedly non-trivial, complex moment, but as the first economy who dedicated his life to studying innovation at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries during the second revolution, industrial revolution, Joseph Schumpeter, taught us it is precisely in times of crisis that we find the strength to stimulate innovation and graft prosperity into the economic and social system. So let us not be frightened by complexity, but rather be inspired by it. So considering this is my last opening of the academic year, as President Monti was saying, I would like to thank a number of people who have been crucial in the last few years, supporting me, starting from the previous rectors. They say in science that you see the world sitting on the shoulders of giants, and I think that what Bocconi University can do today is also the credit of previous rectors who are here with me, apart from Rector Seroni, who is here in front of me. So I would like to thank President Mario Monti. My personal gratitude goes to him for indicating me during these 3 terms as a rector of this university, of which I'm proud, and for having always supported me in my decision-making. I would like to thank all the members of the Board of Directors for their attentive participation in the life of Bocconi University, and all the members of the International Advisory Council for the global vision they have been able to transfer to us. They have been particularly valuable members as members of the Executive Council, and I'm talking about Enrico Cucchiani, Diego Piacentini, and Minister Vittorio Colau, before being minister in the Draghi government, as well as Professor Francesco Giavazzi, president of IAC, Professor Provasoli, president of Bocconi Institute, and Professor Luigi Guatri, president emeritus of Bocconi. I would like to thank all the department's directors who are sitting in part here who have taken turns in these last 6 years, and while respecting the rules of governance, have always constructively stimulated the academic direction. I'd like to thank the administrative staff and the management staff who have worked tirelessly to implement decisions shared by the academic bodies. A greeting to Bruno Pavesi with affection for accompanying me during the first 2 years, and Riccardo Taranto, my traveling companion for the last 4 years. But Roby, Vali, Andrea, I would like to thank them also as well, which is not a very easy life for them. But my biggest thank, as far as I'm concerned, something that is really important, because the credit goes to everybody, but it is the extraordinary team of pro-rectors who have taken turns in the last 6 years, and I would like them to stand up, because they have actually worked 24/7. All improvements that you have seen are the fruit of their work, and to my successor, Professor Andrea Sironi, recently appointed president of our university, whom I had the privilege of serving as pro-rector for human resources, I warmly wish him the best of luck in helping Bocconi University continue to navigate the sea of complexity with determination and courage. To my successor, Professor Francesco Billari, the warmest good luck. We have been working in the last 4 years, and hopefully you will be inspired by complexity as we have done so far. And finally, I sincerely thank all students and professors who have been really close to me, and these years have been unforgettable for me. Thank you so much.
E a questo punto non mi resta.
And at this point, I will do the most important thing for Bocconi University. I declare the academic year 2022-23 open.